Hello everybody. What we're going to be looking at today is going back to measuring with centimeters. So we have been looking at the metric system of measurement. A couple days ago we looked at measuring things in grams and kilograms. And then we also looked at how to measure things in centimeters and meters. So a couple clues here. 1 centimeter is about the width of our finger. So if you measure from one side of your finger to the other, that's about the length of 1 centimeter. And then a meter, 1 meter, is about the length of the bottom of the door to the top of the handle on the door. That's about 1 meter. We also looked at how 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So 100 centimeters is 1 meter. Today's assignment, what we're going to be looking at is how to measure in centimeters, but estimate a measurement in centimeters. So I have up here something that says my estimate and my measure. That should say my measurement. All right, my estimate and my measurement. Now we're going to be using our centimeter ruler. I cut out one of the things that I sent you, that paper with a bunch of centimeter rulers on it. So here is our centimeter ruler. Now, what we're going to be looking at today is actually estimating different objects' measurements in centimeters or in meters. So the word estimate means to guess something. So let's look at our first picture here, a little duck. If I was to guess the size of this duck on this paper, I'm not guessing it in real life, but just the exact size, I think that that looks to be probably about maybe 4 or 5 centimeters. So I'm going to write that right over here. I think it's probably 4 centimeters. That's my guess. Now I want to check my estimate, my guess, with an actual measurement. So I'm going to take my ruler in centimeters and I'm going to start at the 0 and see how far up the ruler it goes. I'm going to do it from his little feet all the way to the top of his head, okay? So I start right here at 0. I'm going to go all the way up. I don't know if you can see that, but I will hold it exactly where it is and bring it up closer. Whoa. My estimate was a little bit wrong. Look how tall he is. He got up all the way to the 6 centimeter mark. So my estimate was a little bit off from the actual measurement. The actual measurement was 6 centimeters for the duck. Let's try that again. This is kind of like science. Remember how when we did science experiments in class, I would say make a hypothesis, and I would always tell you that your hypothesis is never a right or wrong answer. It's just making a guess and trying to learn something from it. That's kind of what an estimate is. All right, let's measure this juice box next, okay? I think we gotta estimate it. I think it is, let me think about it for a second. I'm gonna pick one in my head and I'm gonna let you estimate how many centimeters tall this picture of the juice box is. What do you guys think? If this one was 6, this looks a little bit taller than the duck. So I'm going to say it's 8. You think it's 8? I'm going to write down 8 centimeters. You keep your estimate in your own head. Let's see who's closer, okay? Maybe you guess 6, maybe you guess 9 or 7 or 8 like me. I'm going to start at the 0, go all the way down to this bottom of the green part right here. Oh, it's at 7. If you estimated 7, you are spot on. It's 7 centimeters. So my estimate was 8, but in reality, it's 7 centimeters. Let's do it with one more of these pictures. What do you want to do next? Ooh, I heard somebody say the swing set. All right, let's estimate the measure in centimeters of this picture of the swing set from the top here to the bottom of this long pole. Okay? How many centimeters do you think this picture is of the swing set? I'm going to say it is 7.5 centimeters long. Remember that when we measure with centimeters, if it lands in between two numbers, let's say I measure something and it goes between the 2 and the 3, I will always bring it up to the closer number. So if it's closer to the 2, I'll round it down. If it's closer to the 3, I'll round it up. If it goes halfway in between, it always goes to the larger number. Okay? So I said that this was 7.5 centimeters. My estimate was 7.5. 7.5 centimeters. Let's see what it actually is. From the top, starting at 0, all the way to the bottom. Oh, wow. It is almost to the 8. It's not quite to the 8, but it's almost to the 8. So my estimate wasn't too far off. What did you estimate? All right. Because it's closer to the 8, we need to round it to 8. 8 centimeters. Okay, you see how we're doing this? Now, the next thing I want to let you guys do is actually estimate in real life what type of measurement you would use for these different things. These are all pictures on paper on my board. But in real life, how tall do you think a giraffe is? In real life, how tall do you think a juice box is? How long do you think a polar bear is? How long do you think a tube is that you go tubing on the water? Okay, so we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're estimating still, but we're going to decide not the exact measurement, but what type of unit we'll use. Do you think that these objects are measured in centimeters or in meters? Remember that meters measure really big things and centimeters measure smaller things. Okay? So let's start with the duck again. We're not actually going to measure them, but we're going to estimate their measurement. And we're going to make a guess of what unit we would measure them in. All right, the duck. Should I measure him in centimeters or in meters? A little itty bitty duck. If you saw a duck standing next to this door and he's right down here, a tiny little duck, does he go all the way to the top of that doorknob? No way, right? So he's nowhere near 1 meter. We should probably measure him in centimeters. So the duck gets measured in centimeters. What about a giraffe? If a giraffe was standing next to this door, would he be taller than the doorknob? Totally, right? So we should probably measure him in meters because centimeters are way too small. A centimeter could probably measure his foot, how big his hoof is, but the height of the actual giraffe would need to be measured in meters, and M stands for meters. Whoops, you can't really see that there. I'll write it over here. A giraffe gets measured in meters. What about the juice box? Does a juice box go all the way up to the doorknob? If we use this for a reference? No, it probably only goes like 1/8 of the way up to the doorknob. So we'd better use centimeters. We measure a juice box in centimeters. Let's do one more. What do you think we would measure this tube in? Meters or centimeters? Well, depends how big this tube is, right? Because this kid looks pretty small, but they could also be a really big kid because it's kind of hard to tell because it's a cartoon. So I think that we could probably measure it in centimeters or meters, right? It might be a little bit bigger than a meter. It could be higher than this doorknob if we were to lean a tube against the door. But it also might be a small tube depending on the size of the child, right? So we could probably do centimeters or meters for this one, okay? So, kind of in review, what we're doing today, we are first making an estimate of different heights for each of these things in centimeters. And then we're also trying to guess what unit of measurement we should use to measure real-life objects. So if you pretended that this was a real-life swing set, would you use a centimeter ruler or a meter stick or yardstick? Okay? So you have an assignment today in math where you're going to do that exact thing. So good luck with that.